Welcome to King of the Road, and also welcome to CFC Fan TV. This is a little bit of a weird introduction, but I am putting a little bit of this podcast on the YouTube channel. So not only are we recording with sound, we're also recording with video.
We've got everything, mate. We're like three-dimensional.
We certainly are. That was the voice of the one and only Mr. Charlie Skillen, who I am delighted has joined me for this podcast. We have an awful lot to get through. We're going to be talking about some of the biggest issues in life. But sadly, we're going to have to start with something that's really sad that has happened today, and that is the death of Ray Wilkins. Ray Wilkins is a Chelsea legend, but he's one of the few people who actually crosses club rivalry and is a legend pretty much at every club he's played. Glasgow Rangers fans are in mourning today. Paris Saint-Germain fans are in mourning. AC Milan fans, Queen's Park Rangers fans, Chelsea fans, obviously. He's a legend of the game, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah, I mean, you say the clubs he played for. One thing that completely struck me this afternoon was just outpouring from everyone. I mean, I know that will happen when such tragic news happens, but there was a real sense of the man off the pitch. I mean, literally everyone that came into contact with him, be that, someone who played with him or someone that, encountered him as a pundit on Sky Sports, just said what a genuinely lovely man he was. And that's everyone from like Michael Ballack and Frank Lampard saying that, to Gaza, to people that work with him on ITV and Sky Sports.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what though, Charlie? As much as you get those ringing endorsements from the likes of Jody Morris, from the likes of Frank Lampard, from the greats of the game, what I also thought was really, really heartwarming and moving was some of the footage that I saw recently, actually, from a game at Crystal Palace away.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And we were at that game.
Yeah.
It didn't go well for us. I think Bakayoko scored. We lost 2-1.
Yeah.
At that game, Ray Wilkins was in the away end and he was having loads of selfies with everybody. He was in really good spirits. He was joining in with some of the songs in one of the videos.
He was well known as someone who had time for everyone. And like you say, I mean, not even celebrities or football personalities on Twitter. It was, the Chelsea fans that I follow, they were all posting their sort of personal selfies with him, and everyone didn't have a bad word to say. And it's a really sad day for football, and obviously bringing it a bit closer to home, it's a really sad day for Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gutted. I've been working at the Mail today, and I came back from lunch, and it happened. It happened on my lunch break, and I was really crestfallen. I remember feeling the same when Peter Osgood died, and it's obviously I didn't see him play and you didn't see him play, but it's someone that's so central to the folklore of our club.
I can actually remember. I can remember Wilkins playing though. Can you? I can remember him playing in that Queen's Park Rangers team.
Yeah.
I can not
just about.
I can remember it fairly well. I remember he was central midfield. I don't know how I can remember this, but he was central midfield with a bloke called Simon Barker, like a blonde guy, and Ian Holloway.
Yeah,
and Queen's Park Rangers, QPR had a very good team that year, and they actually finished. I mean, not that this is a trophy. I just got too many QPR mates.
Yeah,
but they actually finished top. Yeah, they finished top London club that year, and Wilkins was coming to certainly in the autumn of his career.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
but he was one of the main reasons why. Yeah, he just was such a good player. He looked after the ball so well, and he was sort of the original Pirlo.
Yeah, and he was player manager at QPR for a while as well.
He was.
I mean, you say Pirlo, and that's interesting because the reputation he got when he played at Manchester United. Obviously, he grew up at Chelsea and was our captain when he was 18, which is an incredible feat. It's our youngest ever captain, and someone that dragged the club. I mean, he was the jewel in our crown when the early 70s of Osgood and Hudson and the FA Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup that had completely died.
Yes.
And Chelsea had gone down, and he was the shining light of the club, and he was a homegrown boy. And people that remember him in his so-called middle stage of his career, which is Man United in England, his nickname was the Crab.
Yeah, just knocking it sideways.
Knocking it sideways, knocking it backwards. But I mean, that's because club and country, he played with Brian Robson, who was a very, very attacking player, and he kind of, Wilkins took up the sort of water carrier role. But those who remember him at Chelsea, and my dad, this is a hill on which my dad is willing to die, says he was a wonderful attacking player, frequently played in the hole behind the strikers, but also was a wonderfully attacking, exciting player. And I saw a stat that he scored like 22 goals for Chelsea, and then which was only 3 or 4 years, and then only scored that again for the remainder of his career.
Right, but it's not a negative, or it may well have been seen as a negative at one point, but it's certainly not a negative as a player to be very interested in ball retention.
No, of course
he
not.
looked after the ball. He played an easy pass. He found a man in space. These aren't insulting qualities. These are really good qualities in a footballer.
No, clearly not. I mean, it's he was a sort of player's player, and he's the sort of player that you suspect. I mean, clearly, without seeing him in his prime, he's the sort of player you suspect would get on very, very well today.
Mate, have you seen the goal? I actually put it on Twitter. Have you seen the goal that he scored for England against Belgium?
I have actually, yes.
If anybody listening or watching, in fact, anybody listening to this, if you haven't seen this goal, please find it immediately. You'll actually find it on my Twitter account if you can't find it anywhere else, which is Chelsea Rory. But it is just a beautiful goal. It really is. Do you know, the only other player that I can kind of think of having the ability and the know-how and the nous to score this kind of goal, it reminded me of a Dennis Bergkamp goal.
Right, yeah.
The ball has come over to him, and on the half volley, he's done that rugby player move. You know when a rugby player will kind of like chip the ball over and then run onto it? And then keep
running, yeah.
He's done that. He's like played an assist through to himself.
To himself, yeah.
And then he's run through, as he's done it in the air, he's chipped it through. He's then had the know-how to let the ball bounce. Defenders are going crazy trying to close him down. The keeper's coming out. And then he just nonchalantly lifted it into the net. Yeah. It was a truly sublime goal, ahead of his time. And he will be sorely missed around the country.
We should say as well, obviously, for the younger listeners and viewers, that he'll be remembered as a coach at Chelsea. Yes, I mean, he was assistant manager under Ancelotti, under Hiddink.
And we won the double.
Yeah, exactly. There's great photos of him with the Premier League trophy, and he is. I mean, obviously he played for a lot of clubs, but he's always had season tickets to Stamford Bridge, and he's a real kind of Chelsea man. And
his quote,
it's a big loss.
I think this quote will sum up Ray Wilkins to the vast majority of people listening to this. He was asked his favourite team, and he said he supported Chelsea. Yeah. And then he was asked who his second favourite team were, and his reply was Chelsea reserves.
Oh, I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. Good, that, and anybody listening who's London based or at least based in England in the south, where are we? South east.
Yeah.
Just checking.
He's only lived there for 30 years.
But yeah, anybody who would like, there's a wall dedicated to Ray Wilkins at Stamford Bridge, and you can certainly go and pay your respects.
Yeah, there's I spoke to my mates earlier. There's already flowers and scarves being collected there. He was, yeah.
So some sad news that makes the news that actually pales into insignificance.
Yeah.
Compared to what we've just been discussing. Tottenham ended their hoodoo at Stamford Bridge.
Do we have to?
We can do it briefly if you want. I don't particularly want to do this.
Okay.
But I am crestfallen, to say the least.
Yeah, I actually think it's the most depressed I've been after a game, certainly since Moscow.
Yeah. I would say that season. There were two that season, weren't there? It was when we lost to Tottenham in the League Cup.
Avram Grant, mate. Cheers. I think it's an absolutely pathetic state of affairs, and I think it's the cause of it. There's so many causes of it. I don't think Conte should be manager today. I've backed Conte to the hilt. I think it was ludicrous watching that game for 80 minutes and not having a Chelsea change. Yeah. I think he's made mistakes this season. He's fallen out with key individuals, and he's kind of this kind of petulant act where he's not getting what he wants. I agree with most of his points, but it's not. You know, now you've lost to Tottenham at home. Kind of, I think you lose. You've got a very poor deck of cards to be playing with.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what my biggest fear about all this is? Do you remember when Arsenal just had it over us? No matter what happened, Arsenal used to beat us. Yeah. And what happened was, we played them in the year that they were invincible.
And
we beat them at the old Highbury. And we beat them there, and we never looked back.
Wayne Bridge
completely changed the dynamic and the relationship between the two clubs.
Yeah.
I am terrified that what Dele Alli did at Stamford Bridge is going to be Tottenham's Wayne Bridge moment. It's going to suggest and signify a shift in the dynamic and the relationship.
I mean...
They're a club on the up, aren't they? They're a club moving in the right direction.
We're certainly in a club moving in the wrong direction.
But to counter that, they are a club moving in the right direction.
They are, certainly, and hopefully that reverses itself fairly soon. And look, I didn't want to sound like think it was Conte's fault, this whole thing, because I think he's a small cog in a huge number of reasons to blame. I think that set of players, and I've said this before, are absolutely disgraceful.
Well, do you know what, Charlie? I think you could say 15. I think I could name 15 players who could leave the club, and we wouldn't shed a tear for any of them. 15 out of the squad.
Yeah, which is like all of them.
Well, it's all of them, with the exception of Kante with the exception of Azpilicueta. You know, there are the obvious exceptions, but
Alonso,
generally speaking, if I never see Victor Moses playing for Chelsea again, that's fine. If I never see Gary Cahill playing for Chelsea again, that's fine. If I never see Thibaut Courtois playing for Chelsea again, I can live with it.
Yeah.
These are, and that list goes on.
Yeah. Oh, completely. I mean, look, it's a ridiculous parallel to draw, but you know, this afternoon's been a kind of very emotional one, looking through all the tributes to a proper Chelsea man, someone that came to know what the club was about, and I don't feel that with this set of players, and I thought they were disgraceful. Individual mistakes. There's so many individual mistakes this season, and that is a symptom of a collective lack of responsibility and a collective lack of organisation and leadership. And as soon as Eriksen smacked that in from 30 yards, there was only one winner of that game. Chelsea's heads dropped. There was no one to rally them. There was no one to take the game by the scruff of the neck. There was no one to say, hang on, this is 28 years here. We can't lose this. And Tottenham just ran us ragged. And there's players that aren't technically good enough, and there's certainly players that aren't mentally good enough. And honestly, it's still driving me nuts. In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, me too. It really is. It really has left me heartbroken. But something has to arrest this decline. We really do need to stop it. I'm not quite sure how. I'm not quite sure what the right answer is. I think Abramovich really does need to look at the situation and rectify it.
Certainly. Well, I mean, what there needs to be some consistency from a football standpoint at that club. There's nothing. They change manager every 18 months, and if you're going to do that, you have to have a structure in place where the culture of the club is maintained. You know, whether that's a director of football or someone who's got their head screwed on when it comes to recruitment of players and all the rest of it. Because as soon as Conte goes, he's got about 15 Italians in the backroom staff that are going to go the next day. Yeah. You know,
we need a Chelsea man in amongst it, don't we? We need to get. You need Frank Lampard in there, or you need Ashley Cole in there. You need somebody like that. I'm never one that sort of agrees with these people who think, we should get Dennis Wise in charge, or just because they were great players for the club, or shouldn't Zola be in charge? But there's definitely that sense of something that's been lost, and I think that it needs to be rectified very, very soon. Do you know what? I can't talk about
that
anymore.
Yeah,
I know. Do you know what I'm going to do quickly? I'm going to end this YouTube video. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to see more and hear more about what we're going to talk about, make sure that you click the link in the description to hear this podcast in full. But that is enough for the YouTube channel. I'm now going to really enjoy myself, and I'm going to talk about the brilliance of Cristiano Ronaldo. So, cheers for watching.